Challenger 78. Let's do this. So this week's challenge drift is Demon Hunter. Now this is a guide aimed primarily at new players. Obviously there's a lot of people picking this game up still on Nintendo Switch because it's quite recently out. So if you're looking for a guide on how to help do the challenge drift, then hopefully this will be it. Now I don't want to sit here and read all the skills, but in the background I'm going to loop the gameplay where I had a little look at the various different items that this player was using, the skills, trying to work out how the build works. Now I don't really know why Blizzard keep giving us these absolute crap builds to play. Basically the way challenge drift works is you get one a week and they roll from one class to another. So this week's Demon Hunter, next week it'll be a different class. Instead of giving us a 6-set bonus, so that let's say a player who's new to the game but has only played Barbarian, then they could get a 6-set bonus for someone else and give it a try. You essentially get a test run, you get a free go of a set almost. So I don't really know why they keep giving us these mishmash crap builds that don't really work very well. But anyway, this is a multi-shot Demon Hunter. Now I haven't played too much Demon Hunter, so I think that gives me a bit of a unique perspective. It's probably easy for me to explain because when I jumped into this rift the first few times I just died straight away, so I had to take a bit of time to figure out how it all worked. So basically there's two questions that you're always going to ask in these challenge rifts, which is one, how am I going to deal my damage, and two, how am I going to stay alive. And then a third sort of criteria is going to be resource management or mobility. This is a multi-shot build, so you can have multi-shot as your main damaging skill. Now this is buffed by the Yang's recurve, as well as by the Dead Man's Legacy. Now really, you don't need to know, you don't need to understand or look at the numbers or read them. Basically this is the skill that deals damage. You do have one other skill that potentially in theory deals damage, which is your evasive fire, but you're only really going to be using that from a defensive point of view. Now multi-shot, you hold it down, it fires tons of arrows. The thing you need to remember is because this player is using a Zystone Vengeance, the further away you are from enemies the better, the more damage you can deal. There's also a passive on the ability that will give you 20% damage buff provided there's nobody within 10 yards. So ideal playstyle for this is to keep your distance and use multi-shot. Now to stay alive there's two main defensive items in the build, which are the braces, which are the Wraps of Clarity. That gives you a 60% damage reduction whenever you hit one of your generator attacks. So every so often you need to be hitting your evasive fire, which will proc your Wraps of Clarity and give you a 60% damage reduction. Now there is also an Aquila Cuirass in the build. What that means is that if you're over, I think it's 93% in this case, primary resource, and you also get a 50% damage reduction. Now I found when I played it was quite hard to stay above that because you want to just hold down multi-shot and destroy things. Obviously that uses resource, so quite a lot of the time you can fall below that figure. Obviously with the playstyle being the further away you are, the more damage you do, then really what you need to be doing is using your mobility skill Vault and move backwards when you engage elite enemies to create a bit of distance. So really you shouldn't be getting hit by too many. Now the Rift actually's got some quite good pylons and quite good pylon placements. If you watch the breakdown that we do of the Rift and where the elites and enemies are, then it should hopefully be something that you can deal with quite easily. But basically, make sure you hit your Wraps of Clarity every so often, otherwise you'll probably get one shot, multi-shot to deal the damage, and you don't quite have unlimited volts, but you can really go quite far, as you'll see in the footage. You know, just hold down volts and spam it. I do run out of discipline a couple of times, but you've got one of your abilities that you can pop that'll give you extra discipline. Now another item you've got from a defense point of view, Smoke Screen, which will make you invisible for 1 second. This also uses discipline, so if you use it, then you're going to basically run out a little bit quicker. Build also uses Vengeance, and you want to pop that on cooldown. So basically, to deal damage, multi-shot, defense, you want to press evasive fire, you use your Vault to get around, and whenever Vermis is on cooldown, you press it. So at the bottom of the screen you'll see the little icons running around. The braces one's probably the most important one. You need to keep an eye on your discipline, and other than that keep your distance from enemies, and that should be fine. So off we go. So you jump in straight away, pop your vengeance. Now the map's fairly straightforward, it's quite a small map. Now you move forwards and there's going to be a blue elite pack in this room. So what you're looking for is these little yellow circles on the ground to jump into, because they'll give you about a 70-80% damage buff. Now I ballsed it up a little bit because I've run out of hatred and I should have killed them a little bit quicker. And once you've killed this elite pack, you want to come back, turn right, and then there's a channeling pylon just up here. There's an elite enemy, you want to ignore that, get the channeling pylon. As you can see, I'm struggling to keep a distance and then pop. So again, I didn't play that particularly well. You need to be keeping your distance to try and blow up the enemies quicker. Now there's another blue pack a little bit further down. In this main room there isn't really anything, but just to the south here, another blue pack. Unfortunately, quite a few of these elites have actually got shielding on, which is annoying. No more elites on this level that are worth going for, so head straight to the exit. Now this next floor, it's got a couple of pylons, it's got a power pylon, so that's quite handy. But it's quite linear, so it's quite easy to port backwards and basically use the Zeistone Vengeance to rack up the damage. So as you can see, the enemies coming almost in a straight line, and they just walk into the multi-shot and get destroyed. And obviously quite a few of these packs have got shielding on. Obviously there's no point holding down multi-shot whilst they've got shielding. You may as well use that as an opportunity to proc your Rapture Clarity. So there's no point sitting there holding down multi-shot whilst you're not doing any damage. So as you can see, plenty of elites on this level, which is obviously handy. You get the power pylon and clean up one more pack, a couple more packs on this level, I think. Now, again, you'll see I'm skipping some of the enemies. It's probably a bit easier if you're a new player to just deal with all of them at once. Now don't worry about the timer, we're beating the time, and it looks like it's done by a little bit, but this is beating my previous time. Because I thought, oh, well, maybe if I do the map, I'll get a better time, but I do beat it by a little bit. This is the power pylon, there's another blue pack there, you've got to go around the corner to get to them. So it's probably best hitting them straight away rather than me fanning around going the wrong way. And then there's another yellow, I think, further down to the left hand side. So again, I'm trying to pop both of these whilst we've got the power pylon. There he is, again, I'm sort of porting into people a bit too much. Probably should be keeping the distance, but with the power pylon it's absolutely fine. And now we're done with this level, the exit is back completely the opposite way, in the northwest corner. And then the next level starts off quite well because there's a challenge pylon. Oh, there is one more at least, just on the way out through the door. Now I've run out of discipline here, so I'm just waiting for it to be able to refresh that. Again, you don't have to spam on quite so much. Perhaps I've overused it. Being a bit more frugal, I might not have run out. I might be able to clear this a little bit quicker. But I'm not particularly bothered about getting a good time. I just want to get my mats and do a few more rerolls. So again, probably should have cleared all that density with the channeling pylon. But, that would probably be a good idea. Now what I was really hoping is that this would help the boss. The boss is quite a difficult fight. Now, in my last time I did die twice doing the rift and I still completed it with loads of time. Boss, those poison things that fires really do hit hard, and obviously it's got a whacking great big scythe that it can hit you with. I nearly died a few times during this. Again, multi-shot in the wrong direction probably doesn't help. But basically, as long as you just teleport every couple of seconds, you should be able to avoid these green blobs and also the swings of the other side. Obviously, once you feel comfortable enough, you can just hold that multi-shot and actually be the end of it. And there we go, you get your bounty mats. I really wish they'd change these things to make them so that they were actually proper builds that you play, because I just think, particularly after Christmas, if you're going to get a lot of people picking up the Nintendo Switch, or even on Xbox or PlayStation, it's just a good idea for them to try out different builds. Anyway, hope you found this useful. I'll catch you in the next one.